Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Khush Amdeed. Ji ayanu. Goedemorgen. Ishbata.
Pakhair agale, ni hao, tune shumme, washmale, ohai gunzaimes, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasal, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli kare. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You were watching World this morning on a very fine Tuesday morning over here in Islamabad alongside the very fantastic, the very superb, the very well-spoken Miss Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you are ready to kickstart your day with us. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
Doing so great. Thank you so much for asking. I actually woke up with the sound of rain, of course, and the thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So knowing me, you know, my day is absolutely going to go great. I am obsessed with rain.
Yeah.
And the moment I came out, actually, so the rain had stopped around, I don't know what time it was because it
4:30.
was raining since so long, right? But I felt like winter is here. I know I keep saying it all the time, but well, officially it is fall season, autumn season that we call it over here. But the winds were so chilly and I absolutely felt like the humidity has died down and well, I want to say the optimum heat has actually come down as well.
Exactly, and
fingers crossed.
Yes, we're thankful to Allah Almighty for blessing us with all sorts of seasons over here in Pakistan as well. But with me, this story was very interesting. So late at night, what happened was that my door kept on banging.
Oh.
You know, so it was opening, it was closing, it was opening, and it was closing, and I was like, you know, who's there on the door? And all of a sudden, I realized that it's actually my window which is open, so the wind's coming in and the wind's coming out. And this is one thing which I would actually want to kind of share with people, that there's always a logic behind or science behind every sound which you kind of hear. So please make sure that you're not so skeptical about it. You know, please make sure that you do not put yourself into doubt. And yeah, just look around, you know, there must be something going on. Maybe it's your window or there's somebody else probably who's banging. And yeah, the problem is when you do not see that person who's actually knocking your door as well. But other than that, there's one more thing which I wanted to talk about, and it's very important. So everybody saw last night that the Instagram wasn't working.
Oh yes, everything
Twitter
Facebook
wasn't working,
owns
Facebook
basically.
wasn't working, and WhatsApp wasn't working. So what did you do when all of these things weren't working?
I didn't find out for so long because I didn't even feel the need to do it. Well, of course. So after a few hours, I felt like, okay, I need to check my phone because I had to see what, you know, the details on the show and whatnot. And it wasn't working. So I checked with my husband and he was obviously panicking. He was like, oh my God, I can't exist without it. Well, I did realize it's Facebook that has gone down because everything related to Facebook was, right? WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. YouTube was working, Netflix was, and Twitter in some cases was as well, to be honest.
Really?
So yeah, it was just Facebook. And this morning actually, which means late night over there, the Facebook actually gave statements that we have no idea what went wrong, but it did go wrong all over the world. We are trying to fix it, and shortly it's going to get back to 100%.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, then the sources within the Facebook actually said, we want to stay anonymous, but to be honest, Facebook did not know how to sort of manage the load that's going on lately, and it crashed. Okay, this is interesting because 3.4 billion people are sort of registered on it and are addicted to it as well.
So I think Mark Zuckerberg will be investing quite a lot of dollars today, ladies and
Their
gentlemen.
stocks went down actually
Yes,
lately.
exactly. But other than that, I think I don't know, because you know we have this habit, or I have this habit of being on the phone so much because we have to upload our pictures, whatever we are doing. I was like, you know, what should I do? So I just switched to Netflix, watched 2 episodes of Squid Game, and I was like, okay, I can sleep now as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of people who are not on their phones all day, every day. In fact, there are people who want to kind of contribute towards their community, towards the society, and make Pakistan a better place as well. These people have served their entire life and they've always made sure that they're going to serve for their motherland as well. But how is something we're talking about as well, because we're very lucky that we have actually been joined by people who took the initiative of Marvin Foundation as well. We have a small report to share with you guys. Go ahead, take a look, and once you guys will come back, we will be in conversation with these amazing, legendary people who every single day when they wake up, they're not using their cell phones, they use their brains in making sure that the community or the place we live in is going to be a better place for every single generation to come as well. Let's take a look.
Let's
that was
do
a good
it.
link.
Marvin Foundation has joined hands with the government to address the need for quality education and skilled workers in Pakistan. The aim is to work hand in hand with the government to provide support to government schools and technical and vocational centers. Moavin Foundation believes that supporting the government institutions is the best use of resources and is therefore contributing to improvement of education system in Pakistan by using the existing government infrastructure. Moavin Foundation will be able to reach maximum number of children and youth, ensuring efficient utilization of resources and a sustainable mechanism for better education in Pakistan. Education is the primary concern of Moavin Foundation since it opens opportunity for a successful life. Using the existing government education and technical training facilities, Moavin Foundation enhances the teacher's skill and the ability to impart knowledge to students. To achieve its goals, Moavin Foundation follows the strategy to work in government schools that need support of Moavin Foundation to improve infrastructure and standard of education, and provide technical training in schools and vocational centers to students who opt for employment after completing middle or high school.
But this is so inspiring, Shahzad, and this is not the first time, of course, we are going to be in conversation with these people.
Yes.
But the most brilliant part about this entire campaign and now an entire project, mashallah, is that I mean, we look at a lot of infrastructures that are going to waste. We've even spoken about BHUs in that case, but this is particularly education. So infrastructure that already exists or systems that already exist that need to be fixed, these are the people that come in with their expertise and with the right kind of people to fix those systems. And the most important part is make them sustainable, because that is what we want as well. Otherwise, we have seen a lot of cases where you do start something and few months down the lane, everything goes down the drain as well.
Exactly. You know, in addition to that, there's one more thing which I would love to say, and that is that, you know, I believe that, you know, for the very first time that whenever we came across them, you know, they were those visionaries who thought that, you know, we have the infrastructure, the public schools are there, why not make them better rather than starting from scratch and, you know, generating probably a lot of funds and then, you know how things are, and I guess everybody knows as well. So not just that, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that they rectified that there were the problems with the washrooms, that they were there but they weren't functional. The teachers were missing as well in a few schools. 38% of the teachers or 40% of the teachers weren't coming to the schools as well. The girls dropped out because of the fact that they couldn't really use the washrooms in the schools as well. And then the teacher training program. So I think that it's about time that we kind of hear it from the horse's mouth as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the former Chief of Naval Staff, Chairman Moavin Foundation. He happens to be Admiral Retired, Mr. Asif Sandela. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Wonderful to have you. And alongside him, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by former Federal Secretary Education. He's been heading 2 or 3 more very important departments as well. He is Mr. Hamid Ali Khan. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Thank you, sir, for having us.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you. You know, at times, I used to be a naughty boy, you know, when I was growing up, and, you know, whenever I come across such an opportunity where, you know, the Federal Secretary Education sitting right in front of me, I would always want to ask, sir, while you were the Federal Secretary Education, what was that achievement you achieved while you were serving the nation? So we'll start from there if you want to.
Oh, we're taking you back down the memory lane.
And then we'll come down to Moavin Foundation.
Okay. I think it's not that I was basically picked up to a Secretary Education. It is in our career profile, and you have the experience. I had been as a Deputy Commissioner, commissioned 4 or 5 districts.
Exactly.
Yes.
So in a district, you see Deputy Commissioner is almost as a focal point. He is heading about 11 to 12 departments: education, health, social welfare, irrigation. So he is a jack of all and master of none. But he is a team captain.
Exactly.
So by virtue of that experience, when I was somewhere way back, I was AC Kulu. I started my career from KP.
Yes,
I was in Mansehra, Mardan, and then political agent also. And then I was in Bakhar and backward districts in southern Punjab. But wherever I went, my one focus was to promote education and to build schools. So in Kulurkot, a place like Kulurkot, I had the opportunity with the public partnership. I had nothing, no funds, nothing. I established a Beacon House branch at that time. It was newly started.
Wow.
In Mansehra, I established a public school. Probably it was that background that maybe the government that they picked me up as to.
And that's wonderful. And
so I was Secretary CAD here in Islamabad, capital administration. So I was looking after all the schools, colleges, and hospitals.
Mashallah.
So it was, I think,
And
great.
sir, the best part is that when we talk about deputy commissioners or commissioners, we never think about that they might not have funds to kind of support their activities. But moving on to Sandela Sahab over here, sir, from the last time you were here, we talked about the Movin Foundation going into public schools and kind of helping them in restructuring. It was Sheikhupura, Faisalabad, Islamabad, and all of these areas as well. So from then, that was probably 1 or 2 years ago as well. Where is Movin Foundation today?
First, I would like to say what we are doing.
Yes, please.
We are trying to operationalize the existing government schools.
Sir.
Why government schools? Because there is a huge government infrastructure already available, which is not functional optimally.
Okay.
So we focus, because why we focus there is, then you can expand more. It is scalable.
Okay.
If you want to build a school, you will make 1, 2, 10, 100, but you can scale up, number one. Number two, we focus on primary and elementary education. Why? I think on any level of education in Pakistan, if you are working, you are doing some service. And it is very good. But we focus primarily on primary and elementary because we believe very strongly. If the foundation of a child is good and strong, he or she will be able to go up and excel in life. So these are the two reasons why we do what we do. Now coming on to, we started with 2 schools in Sheikhupura in my village. One government and one boys and one girls school. There were only 320 students when we started.
Okay.
And within 6 months, it rose to about 800. And now in the same 2 schools, there are over 1,000 children.
Mashallah.
So what we do basically is, pehle to when you work, you need to find out what is the problem.
Exactly.
The real problem is, and Hamid Ali Khan being DC and commissioner has had a lot of input in this, is the teacher. Either there are no teacher in government schools. If they are, they don't come. And if they come,
They're not sincere.
they don't teach. And if they teach, they don't teach well.
Okay.
This is the real problem in government school in rural areas. And I must say, we are working in rural areas basically. So what we do is we sign an agreement with the government. We make sure that teachers are provided by the government. If there are less, we hire them.
Okay.
And then we train them through very well established institute here in Lahore, Ali Institute of Education, who help us to do all this. So this is our main focus. And the second focus is, in the government school, is we must have, wherever we go, functional washrooms.
Exactly.
Yes.
There are, but they may not be functional.
Exactly.
And 3, there must be clean drinking water available.
Exactly.
So doing these things from these 2 schools in Sheikhupura, then we expanded to 7 schools in the whole Union Council. Then we expanded to some schools in Islamabad, Pindadan Khan. And now in Pakistan, we have schools in GB, 65 schools. We have schools in North Waziristan also, and Karachi. You may ask, why these polka dots? If I have a choice,
Okay.
I would take one district and make it functional.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when Shahzad pays money, he tells me, you go to my village.
Oh.
So we have to go.
All right.
But that's a brilliant, I really have to sort of course, commend the services over here. And this expansion, sir, also means that the model that you guys implied has worked out, right? So moving on to you with this question, sir, in terms of the model, how was it received? Because you were focusing on the teachers that are already existing and the government that already did put in place a model. Were there questions of your method? Were there resistances in your application of the method as well?
And sir, in addition to that, there's one more thing which I'm going to add, and that is the way we behave. Oh yaar, eh kitho aage ne yaar hun eh sanu dasange ke hun asi padhana kidda hai. You know, for everybody who might not understand Punjabi, you know, I think I'm going to translate in English as well, that the stigma over here is that, you know, whenever you go to kind of tell someone that, hey, you know what, this is your job description and you're not doing so, they'll be like, sir, you know, you really do not need to tell us that, you know, whether we are doing our jobs or not. So, sir, please.
So very, very briefly, sir, may I give you little elaboration what Admiral is saying?
Yes, please.
Why government schools? 84% population, roughly, between 80 to 84% population, they are affiliated with the public schools, with the government schools, we must know. And we have,
This is a huge number.
it's a huge number, 80 to 80, it is. But I'm talking about this marginalized class,
Yeah.
disadvantaged, and the rural poor. This is basically our focus. Marginalized, rural poor, and disadvantaged. We started from that. So we realized, and we carried out the identification and analyzed what is the reason why Allama Iqbal was studying in Urdu medium school, Dr. Qadir Khan from Urdu medium school, Professor Abdul
parents,
Salam.
our parents studied
We
from
both of us, we
Yeah.
belong to that
Yeah.
class. He is
My
second
dad
4-star general admiral. He has been studying Urdu medium. Later on we went to cadet college.
Yes.
Same is the case with me and many more. So what happened now? The standard has gone down. The education standard has gone down too much. What is the reason is that too much interference by the government. The government job is to create an environment, to create an environment and to provide funds and support. Government does not have to start doing the business. This is what is happening in every sector. So here was the initiative taken by the provincial government, Punjab government at first, go for the public-private partnership. So then I suggested to Admiral, why to go for brick and mortar? Here is a model, the structures are there, the everything is there, but all we have to do is to put our share in that.
Exactly.
And then the focus was the teacher. And we realized there was so much teachers transferring and going here, there, and everything was there. So we entered into agreement with the government of Punjab. And there were two essentials from our side. One, we will not interfere in the syllabus and curriculum and your organization.
Okay.
We will be contributing. Our main effort would be to reintegrate, to strengthen and reinforce government system.
Wow.
So Punjab government at that period of time was looking for Danish schools. You remember that part? And it was not working. So here we got the opportunity to chip in. We had the credibility, experience, or whatever you could say. So they chose us. Okay, you start. Let's see your model. And conditions with the government Punjab were two only.
Yeah.
Said no teacher shall be transferred before completing 3 years of time.
Okay.
That's a normal tenure in the
That's a
government, in
good
your
thing.
rules of business.
Yes.
So I said, we told them that we are going to invest in the teachers. We are going to provide them the training in the alum school, so they have to continue there. Second, sir, if any teacher is not coming up to the mark, we will have a monitoring system on the top. If he is not coming up to the mark, and we recommend to you that he has to be pulled out, or he is not working satisfactorily, our recommendation has to be honored.
Okay.
These are the two, and I think they did very well to us.
Exactly,
That
which is
is
why, sir,
brilliant.
in addition to that, I think where the direction needs to be right now is that, we have this problem within our public institutions, and I'm sorry, but we have to identify, we have to talk about it, only then things will get better. I mean, if any public office starts at 9, the officer starts to come in at 10, 11, 12, and then they say, hum jate bhi to late hai. So this is the kind of logic they have. Any public institution out there is to facilitate any civilian who comes up in the first place, but they kind of ask for a favor, or you ask for a favor as well. Now, coming around all of these challenges, because, sir, when we talk about teachers, obviously the teachers have connections within the education ministry. Somebody is probably well connected to the education minister. Somebody is going to call you, sir, bada masla is teacher ko yahan se yahan transfer kar de, please. And so how do you come across all of these challenges? Because people in Pakistan do not want to work, but want to get paid.
As he said, we actually started, and we first went and met the Chief Minister. This is what we want to do.
Okay.
And Chief Minister at that time was the previous Punjab Chief Minister, Shahbaz Sharif Saab. And he liked the idea because we were going to reintegrate the government. We were not taking anything, we were giving.
Yes.
So he liked the idea, and he actually was very supportive of this. And he nominated one deputy secretary in his secretariat that you facilitate them. And in Pakistan, actually in many other countries, when things come from the top, so people fall in place.
True.
Yeah.
At the same time, the two conditions that we said we had to stand on our feet, there was a lot of pressure at times. It came to us, we said no, nothing doing, we are not going to. And after
And you
about
stood by
6 months, we stood by it. And after about 6 months, one year, they realized that ye fauji hain, inke saath panga na lo. So we went ahead. But one, I would say, you said that there were challenges. Yes, there were some challenges from the local area, but the people at the level of DC and education,
They were with you.
they were very happy because somebody else was helping them. So in many ways, but there is a problem has come up now in government schools in Punjab now, because they have introduced a new system of transfers, which is called the e-transfer. So it is, we are still in the coordination with the minister, the secretary. So they are trying to help us, So far, the problem is not resolved. So it has created some problem for us in Punjab at the moment.
At the moment.
At the
Well,
moment.
that's unfortunate, but also, sir, I want you to further sort of shed light on this issue, where you said that people want to get paid but not work. And
Yeah.
I know a very particular case, no names, this woman I respect, coming from one of the rural areas again, and she happens to be designated headmistress of a public school over there. It's a proper village, right? And for 3 to 5 months, of course, she's not in the school. And well, she lives with her husband in another city, right?
Why would you respect such a woman in the first place?
Because, well, we're family friends. Anyway, I did have an argument with her. So she goes on, "Ke, this is a job that I have. It's a designation. I do get paid every month. No one comes to check. And whenever someone from the government is going to pay a visit, I get a call 2 days prior. I make sure I'm there on that day." And it broke my heart. I said, "Okay, who is monitoring everyone out there?" And she goes like, "Not a lot of people come there." So this, first of all, how are you making sure that everyone goes? And also, secondly, this is going to be a personal opinion. I want any one of you to answer this. Are you happy that SNC will be implemented in your schools as well?
I will answer the first part, second part he will take.
Sure, please.
The first part is, I have a little difference of opinion with
Sure,
you.
sir.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we feel that everybody in Pakistan is either bad or chore. It
Yes.
is not so.
True.
Okay.
I must tell you,
There are
it
a lot
is
of
not-
honest people.
There are a lot of honest people, and many people. I can only talk about the teachers that we are
Yeah.
working with. Panch ungliyan, they are not
They're not
same.
equal, yes.
Of course, there are good and bad, but our experience generally has been very positive.
Wonderful.
The
Okay.
people who were not working perhaps before, because what we did, we provided them place to sit, we provided them furniture, we provided them solar system, we provided them washrooms, clean drinking water. They all, most of them, they say, "We want to work. We have come here to work," and
That's
they want to
nice.
work. There may be one odd example, but generally people in Pakistan, I am really appreciative, I must tell you. Generally people are good. It is as they say, the fish rots from head. So the issue is somewhere else.
Yeah.
The
Got
general
it.
people are okay. There's
Exactly,
not an
and
issue.
I would certainly agree with you as well, because we are over here on time. We start our morning show on time as well.
I may
But yes, sir.
elaborate. I may elaborate this point also.
Yes, please.
You asked 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
One, we invest in the teachers. We believe that a good teacher only explain. A very good teacher may demonstrate, but here is an excellent teacher who inspires,
Wow.
Yeah.
and we are looking for the inspiration.
That's
Exactly.
nice.
And let me tell you, there was a case in school. A lady teacher was promoted, sir. She was promoted, and she refused to go on promotion. And we asked her, why you are
Yeah,
getting
because she
better?
wanted to
why?
stay back.
She said, here is an environment. I am being giving pick and drop. I am giving very good facilities. I am being looked after, and all the more I am giving respect by that, by this area. So we give incentives also. We have a monitoring system also, but we give a lot of rewards and incentive to good teachers. This is one.
Right.
Second issue, a second important point is why it is a success model. We don't accept money.
Thank
We-
you for saying that.
Our,
We
our,
needed to
our
make
main
it clear.
donors are 3 in the beginning. It was Chinese embassy, it was Australian, and what was third, sir? Maybe.
But our own local friends and
That's
And when once we visited to Australian and Chinese embassy, we met the ambassadors, and we told them about our model, and he said, "This is what we need some support." So he asked us, Admiral, how much money you need? Ambassador, fortunately, he knew him before also in the service. He had been to China, and so we said, "We don't need money, Excellency. We identify the projects. Here is the project. You invest in that project, and it will be implemented. And you implement. We don't implement. But the board will be yours. Slogan will be yours."
That's good.
Similarly, we went to Australian embassy, and we asked for those solars. He said, "You are the only organization, entity in this country. They are not asking us the money."
Money.
And would you believe it now, sir? Now our schools they have 100% solars.
Oh,
100%.
that's good.
And now this is the time that Australian ambassador rings him up, and he says, "Admiral, some money is waiting for you in the pipeline for solar project.
brilliant,
Do you need it?"
brilliant.
So this is the credibility, sir.
Exactly.
Sir, I think credits due where it's due. Your intentions
Yeah,
are
that-
also
that is,
clear
I
as
think
well.
so.
Yeah.
Because because our enrollment, there is about 28 to 34%
Increase.
dropout rate in Pakistan in public schools, in the Punjab public sector.
Okay.
In our schools, not even 1%.
Wow.
100%
That's a feat.
people are there. Our results have significantly improved.
Wonderful.
And we didn't tell you one thing, we have linked our education system or these models with the vocational training also. We provided opportunities for jobs also. In his village, he has established a center of excellence of vocational training. We may have a separate program one day, but the
Yes.
girls who have been taught embroidery, beautification, and the children who mechanics, beauty, everything, they are sitting at home, sir. We have given them connection with the Chamber of Commerce and Industry at Lahore
Wow.
and Faisalabad. They give them the orders to these young girls and boys, and they are making money at home.
Brilliant,
Exactly.
This is what we'll give you some data.
Which
sometime.
obviously is wonderful, and
course.
we will definitely, sir, certainly talk about this on another dedicated program. But you
Sure,
know, obviously,
This is
Shiza
brilliant.
kind of asked about the single national curriculum, and there's one more thing in addition to that, and I want both of you to answer, because ever since the pandemic broke out, sir, you know, the children were not going to school anyways, and you know, when we talk about online classes or online learning, you know, with the public schools, we really did not had an infrastructure where the teachers were actually trained about that as well. And there were a lot of losses in terms of where Shafqat Mahmood Sahab actually had to say that, you know, sab pass ho gaya metric mein. I wish, but it was me in my metric examination back
wish.
then. So did you kind of come up with a system or infrastructure where you thought that, okay, you know, the kids are missing out on the school and the education for so long, so we probably need to invest in this area as well.
Hamid will talk about the single national, and
but-
then I will talk about this.
Okay,
Okay,
wonderful.
sir, please.
So the government, we in this approach, a strategy, one syllabus, one curriculum means one nation,
Exactly.
one integration.
True.
What is the background? It's a good approach.
Sir, I want you to begin with if you agree with it or not, if you like the idea or not.
Yeah,
No, I would not say yes or no,
Okay.
but I know it is not implementable. Let me tell you,
Okay.
it is not
Okay.
implementable theoretically, academically.
Okay.
From my point of view.
Okay.
Once, sir, there was a time in 60s, there was one syllabus almost. We have a uniform system of education, not uniform but standardized.
Okay.
And we were producing outstanding people.
Okay.
It may be in the civil servant, it may be the journals, it may be in media or anywhere.
Yeah.
Over a period of time, after 70s or 80s, this Afghan syndrome when it has come, jihad and everything, you had a madrasa culture, then you have beacon house and roots culture, English, and then you have the Urdu medium schools. Now, presently, for the last 20, 30 years, in Urdu medium schools, what I am trying to focus on is, you are only preparing people from grade 1 to 4. A chap who has studied, say, in Toba Tek Singh, or in Lucky Marwat, or Killa Saifullah, and he has qualified as, with outstanding marks, he cannot become a CSP officer.
Okay.
He cannot become a 4-star general now.
Okay.
But at that time, it was not there like Amjad Ali, Faiz Ahmad Faiz, and you see. So the system is such, it is so. In the English medium schools, where your beacon house and root system, it is O level, A level, you are preparing these boys for to go abroad.
Yeah.
They go,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
would like to go to UK, America. They have nothing to do with their own culture.
Exactly.
Here is a madrasa stream, you are preparing them for a typical Sunni, Shia Kafir and Sunni, this is all it is. So there is a distortion in the national fabric.
Okay.
And when they come into practical life, I've experienced myself.
Yeah.
When they come into practical life, say in the government departments, here's a chap from madrasa also, here's a chap maybe from the beacon house, there's a chap from maybe from the Urdu medium.
Exactly.
So there's a mental distortion.
Just
Okay.
one
So,
small, sorry, Shazad.
so why, let me,
Yes,
this
yes.
was the background.
Okay.
So his background, the government background, the approach was we should have one syllabus, one curriculum, one nation. It would address the issue of your disparities, regional disparities, social disparities. Very good. Level playing field to everybody.
Yeah.
Now the next question is it implementable? It is not implementable. One,
Yeah.
after 18th Amendment, try to understand.
Obviously.
After 18th Amendment, constitutionally speaking, the education department sector has been shifted to the provincial governments.
True.
Since government on record is saying we do not agree to it.
Yeah, they don't want to
Madrasas have
implement.
some concern. Wafaqul Mudaris, they say, "Hey, please sit with us. What kind of syllabus you want?
Okay.
Coming to it. And third is, do you have the resources to do it?
Exactly.
You have that network to bring those textbooks on the board. Third, do you have the vision? What kind of books will be there? Which subject will be taught in class 5th? Which Persian or English or Urdu or Arabic where will be taught? And when Holy Prophet, peace be upon, when he said, go to China for the sake of learning and education.
Yes.
Exactly.
So did he mean that you go there and learn Persian, Arabic, Quran? It was not. It was innovation. It
We-
was creativity.
Seeking
We
Right,
agree
right,
to you, sir, but there's a point now, and you know, I'm actually going to remind you where in the opening I said that I was a naughty child while I was growing up as well. So, sir, there's one simple question I
I'm
wanted
giving
to
you the
ask
balanced view of both the things.
Sir, one simple thing I wanted to ask, and before I move on to Sir as well, talking about the pandemic and if there was any other infrastructure development as well. But sir, very quickly, imagine that we talk about these days Mark Zuckerberg, we talk about Steve Jobs and these people who've actually created companies worth billions of dollars, which is more than our own country's reserve as well. So imagine today we gather over here to talk about becoming a CSP officer. No offense to any other profession out there. Don't you think that rather than officers, we need creators?
Of course.
100%. I agree with you.
Anna? So I think now we should actually move on
I
from
agree
that
with
as
you.
well.
We now, only just in one line,
sir.
we now in our society, because what is the main objective? It is main objective is to give economic boost to the country.
Exactly.
Economic
Yes.
productivity, knowledge scale economy. So you don't need journalists now. You have to have professionals in every field.
Absolutely.
This is what this is what is required.
Thank you very much for saying that. Sir, very quickly. moving on to
Okay,
you.
I'll first say it is not enough to teach ABC, Alif, Be, 1 plus 1. We have to make human beings, only then can you build a nation.
True.
So there has to be lot of emphasis on morals and ethics and how the person must work.
True.
This is one thing which we must and every school must do. Coming to pandemic, unfortunately, I see this last 1.5 years actually gone wasted because schools opened, closed, opened, closed. We tried 2-3 things. First, we tried to teach children on parents, those who could give them their cell phone so that we could teach them. And we did this
Exactly.
to a small number. And number 2 we did was we have a program going here in Islamabad, KG to class 2 on tablet. The parents were not ready to take control of these tablets, but those who agreed, we gave them. But frankly telling you, we did try, it worked, and we say that if it did not work 100%, it maybe worked 5%.
Exactly. Thank you
That's
very much,
still a
sir,
lot.
and thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for all of these initiatives you have taken within the education sector, and that too within the existing infrastructure. A rich tribute to you people as well, and please continue to strive for excellence. For everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that whatever capacity you are in, make sure that you do something good for the community. We're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere, because when you guys will come back, we're going to talk about World Teachers Day as well. It's all about education today. Let's do this. Good
Stay
morning.
tuned.
Yeah, just about there. So hopefully ज़्यादा ऊपर नीचे नहीं होगी आज at least. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका मुझे यहाँ बुलाने का. It's a special occasion for me because I've never been to such a wonderful place, and so आगे चल के मैं और आपसे फिर स्टॉक एक्सचेंज की खुल के बात कर सकूँगा ताकि थोड़ी सी मैं इसके ऊपर और अपनी स्टडी को स्ट्रॉन्ग करूँगा, so I'll be able to contribute more. But thank you so much for inviting me. It's a great honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
Sitar is a plucked stringed instrument used in Pakistani classical music. The instrument flourished under
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back after a short break. We hope everybody out there is doing wonderfully well, and that for everybody who just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, earlier we were in conversation with the chairman of the Marvin Foundation, or the founders of the Marvin Foundation, and how they're actually kind of working with the government on the same plan the government is on as well. So we were obviously talking about the restructuring of the schooling system as well, clean drinking water, having to have the facility of the washrooms which are functional, and not just that, on teacher trainings as well. But today we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a teacher herself as well, because today happens to be
World Teachers Day, and we absolutely need to celebrate those people who imparted their wisdom, knowledge and education to everyone around them as well. And I feel like teachers are the reason eventually a generation is made or a nation is made, right? Or even when we talk about all the prosperity that is sort of associated to a nation later on, that eventually, if we go back to the root level, begins with the teacher.
True.
So with before any further delay, we have a small report to talk about how important this day is, and maybe it will tell you how you need to respect your teachers as well.
Exactly.
Let's take a look at it. When we come back, we'll be in conversation with one of the best we have over here.
let's do this.
Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. World Teachers Day is annually celebrated on 5th October to commemorate the anniversary of adoption of 1966 International Labour Organization and UNESCO recommendations of concerning the status of teachers. This day aims to appreciate the noble services of teachers in the field of education. Teachers play an important role in building of a nation. The theme of this year's World Teachers Day is Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. It focuses on highlighting the efforts of teachers in the COVID-19 pandemic. Education sector has been hit hard in the wake of the pandemic. Due to closure of schools, colleges and universities, students face many difficulties in learning well, but teachers are playing a role of superheroes in giving them knowledge at their best. In Pakistan, educational institutions are now open with strict SOPs. Teachers are putting extra efforts to educate the children in this situation of crisis. On Teachers' Day, students show their gratitude to their teachers by giving them cards and gifts, shower tributes in writing and speeches, and other such touching gestures. The Ministry of Federal Education and Professional Training is making excellent policies for the better education facilities for students in Pakistan. To celebrate World Teachers' Day, different events are held worldwide.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was a comprehensive report, and we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the branch head Roots International Schools and Colleges Rawal campus. Ladies and gentlemen, she happens to be an educationist, and she is Miss Asifa Noreen. Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, both of you.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you very much for joining us. So we
Thank
hope
you.
that you've heard the program, which
I have heard in a big detail.
Wow.
And we can go into like more thorough detail.
exactly. So first things first, what are the rights and responsibilities of the teachers?
Being a teacher,
Before
you know,
that, Happy
Yeah.
Teachers Day, because of
Thank
course you
very
deserve
much.
it.
Thank you very much. Actually, being a teacher, it doesn't mean that like I mean, unfortunately, Pakistan has a culture that if you cannot do anything, be a teacher.
Yeah.
So that gives a very bad impact to this profession. But I mean, speaking very frankly, I must say that teaching is just a passion. If you're
Yes.
a passionate, then you can be a teacher only.
Exactly.
I don't believe in a degree. I don't believe in something. I mean, a degree cannot like comprehend a teacher.
Exactly. True.
Teacher should have the feeling to be a teacher, and she should have a skill to make anyone. Yes.
Because not everybody can teach.
Not
That's
So
anybody.
what are the responsibilities of teachers?
Being a responsible teacher, I think you should be very comprehensive. You should be very I mean, you should know, I mean, the strategic development of a child. That if
Exactly.
you're teaching, like, if you are a MPhil and you are like brought into a class of grade 2,
Yeah.
then you don't need to teach him the MPhil level, but you
Yeah.
have to be at that level where the child is.
True.
So that's a big, I mean, skill, I guess.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And ma'am, I think I really appreciate the fact where you said that teaching is passion, and
That's
if you
a
don't
passion.
have the passion, I really want
100%.
to take this moment to say, if you don't have that kind of passion, don't be a teacher. You're
Don't
going
be
to
a
ruin
teacher.
lives, of course.
You can be anything else.
Exactly.
You
So
can
ma'am,
be
you tell
anything
me,
else.
when you tend to a class of 40 pupils, or even, well, more, sometimes even less,
Yeah.
each one of them is
Is a different-
special. They're so unique.
Uh-huh,
They
yes,
come from different areas.
exactly. You're
How do you
asking-
cater to them?
You're asking me a wonderful question.
Thank you.
I have been able to work abroad, and over there, like, class differentiation was the biggest technique which I learned from there.
Okay.
Because in Pakistan, unfortunately, we are having 40 children, and we are having the same strategy to teach everyone.
Yeah.
And well, I believe that every student in your class is a different learner.
True.
Of
He has a
course.
different skill to, I mean, express himself or to show his learning. So we believe that, I mean, I mostly believe that, and I'm teaching, I mean, I'm training my teachers on that scale, that differentiated learning is very, very important. Sometime a child who cannot speak a word, he can draw amazing things,
Yeah.
right? And sometime a child who cannot be that like comprehensive in writing, but he's a wonderful speaker. So that is what like teaching should be like, I mean, on such a scale where the teacher has a skill to take them differently and to teach them differently.
Exactly. But
Brilliant.
ma'am, this will only happen if from the very initial process the teacher starts to prepare for themselves as
Exactly.
well.
This is what
How
I
do you
believe in.
think that anybody who's actually thinking about a teacher in today's world, because it's a very competitive
It's
market,
a very competitive
because a lot of people have really excelled in it as well, and a lot of people are doing a
Exactly.
great job. So while we talk about it, how do you think that all of those people who admire to be teachers in near future should actually initially prepare themselves?
First of all, they should be very, of course, they should have an education.
Sure.
And they should be very skilled, and they should be knowing their subject.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's a maths teacher, he should be having a grip on it. And he should
Right.
be knowing that from where I'm going to start and which transition I'm going to take from this level to this level.
True.
So he should be very, I mean, understanding, be very clear about it.
Exactly.
Second thing is that, again, the question comes that he should be very passionate. He should be at the level of a child. He should not be, you know, there's a difference. Like, I have seen many teachers. I've seen teachers in my life who have been very well educated, but never were good teachers. And I've seen the people who were not having big degrees, but they were amazing teachers. So that's like a very contrasting thing to say what a teacher should be like. But of course, he should be skilled in his job. If he's not skilled and he has chosen the profession, then he should be a consistent learner. He cannot say that if I'm having 20 years experience of teaching
Yeah.
and I cannot learn new things, so he's wrong in that case.
Definitely, because learning and unlearning is a lifelong process, ladies
Exactly.
and gentlemen. And just one thing, I don't know if there's a direct answer to this as well, but should there be, or is there a recruitment criteria for teachers, where you said that, of course, degrees don't matter, it really, the passion matters.
Exactly.
What do you think should be that, I don't know what you call it.
Standard?
Yeah,
Standard.
sure, standard.
In my opinion, yesterday, I will just share one of the experiences that may be an answer to itself. Yesterday, a teacher came to me and she was an MPhil.
Okay.
And she applied to be a teacher. But in my opinion, when I'm choosing someone to be a teacher, so what thing I must say is like communication. Whether it's Urdu, whether it's whatever language, it's not English only, but he should be having a skill to speak. He
Right.
should be able to transfer his knowledge. So degree is not the case which is going to give you that. So, you know, I mean, people are inborn teachers.
Yeah, sometimes they are.
You don't need to be like trained as a teacher. But like if you go abroad, I'm talking about Australia and many other countries, they are licensing teachers. You should be licensed before like choosing this profession. And unfortunately, Pakistan is the only country where anyone who is just a graduate, he can be a teacher. And that's a story behind, I mean, the education going lower and lower.
Okay.
Because if we do have skilled people who are professionally, see, a doctor is professional only if he
Yes.
has that skill with him and he's trained for that. And if in Pakistan, maybe in many years, in few years, maybe we'll be able to have that, I mean, project in which we are making the genuine teachers who are not, that's a contrast, you know.
Yeah.
That's a contrast, and that's a gap where we are between the government schools and the private schools.
Yes.
The private schools are taking the same lot, but they're making them, they're training them. And in the government sector, we are taking the teachers who are MAs and whatever degrees they have got better degrees as compared to private schools.
Okay.
But unfortunately, they cannot teach because they are not trained for that.
Exactly. You know, so obviously, teacher training is one of those very
One of the
important
very
aspects
important
which
aspect.
everybody needs to talk about, and the schools are really focusing on that. And this is something which we were talking about in the first segment as well. But very quickly, ma'am, I think that one of the traits which a teacher might possess is patience.
Patience.
And they say
One of the
very
biggest traits.
yeah, and they say
That's
very
the
famously that
biggest-
patience is a talent as well. And
Exactly.
especially with pandemic,
agree
I
with
think
you.
that it was really difficult for the teachers to kind of pick up on newer technologies in the
That
first
was-
place. And then kids obviously will always play around. So we have seen all of those memes
Yes,
and
of
videos
course.
all over the internet where the kids are making funny noises and the teacher cannot
Exactly.
figure out
That was the
which
biggest
kid
challenge.
he or she is. So how did you cope up with such challenges which the pandemic brought to for all of
Yes.
those teachers?
I should regard Roots as like a very lucky, people, or a very, lucky institution, I must say.
Mashallah.
That before the pandemic came, we were already having 25% of our examinations on computers itself.
Wow.
And that was like a training, actually. I mean, the students were already trained to do that. So we didn't take much of time. The day it was announced as like a lockdown, our school was not having a single day out without education. So we started from the very day. All the rest of the schools around us, like they took a month, maybe month and a half, because they had to have a platform first, and then from that platform they have to arrange so many things, including the teachers training.
Exactly.
But our teachers, fortunately, they were very well trained. We were using the Microsoft, of course, Teams, and in that case we didn't take much of time, and it was a big challenge, of course, and we trained the teachers who never even touched the computer.
Exactly.
And they were really fast learners, I must say.
Yeah.
And today, like, we don't, like, I think we have made those teachers more capable, and I think they have got like one more enhanced kind of like practice, which is very much, people are reluctant to do that.
Exactly.
But we were very fortunate in that case.
And one last question, because I think the people who live in Islamabad and Rawalpindi would certainly want an answer to this question.
Yes.
That is, and I'm sorry that I'm actually asking you
No,
this
no.
question as well. But the question is that, so there's Roots Millennium, then there's other routes, and then there's another routes as well, right?
Yeah.
How would we know which routes is actually perfect for our kid to go to?
That's a very difficult question, I must say. But I must say they
Well,
have
you're free
the
to
same,
endorse your own.
They have the same route. They are all very much
I think
close
it's the
to-
education which is important.
They are all great educationalists, I
Yes.
must say.
Around
They
there.
are having their own, I think the basic from where they started is
Exactly.
like the main roots, of
Exactly.
Spoken like a
And
The
true
values are
diplomat.
same.
that's, of course, that's same, and I think whichever routes you go, they'll
Mashallah.
all be same.
And it's wonderful. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank
and
you very
on
much for
World
coming.
Teachers Day,
Thank you
we
very
would really certainly want to kind of pay rich tribute to all of your teachers as well, and all of those teachers who are out there, who've been a part of the schooling
Yes.
systems as well. And for every student who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, I think that it is very important for us to kind of reinforce this value, because when we used to go to school, this is one thing which has always stayed with me, and that is that teachers are your spiritual parents.
Of course.
And they always need to be respected like that. And there's this one quotation which is in Urdu, so I'm going to translate it in English afterwards, and that is Ba the Banasi, but I'm not going to say the later part. And it goes in terms of teachers, parents, and everybody who's elder
Elders.
to you as well. So please make sure that you kind of reinforce these values into your children as well. So for all of those teachers who are out there, here's a big rich tribute to you all. Thank you very much for making us who we are today, and the kind of conversation we can hold, and the kind of personalities we have. So thank you very much, ma'am,
Thank you very
for
much.
joining us. Wonderful
Thank
to
you
have
very
you.
much for like having me here.
Definitely, and still going on about all the teachers watching the show right now, I request you all to please be sincere to your jobs. I mean, of course, because there are some people who do need sort of this remembrance or reiteration as well. You are shaping lives, you're shaping impressionable young minds. Be kind, be compassionate, and of course, I mean, bring the best foot forward for them
Exactly.
as well.
So please make sure that you write to us, ladies and gentlemen, because our news producer
Is
wants us to
anxious.
kind of end the show as well, but we certainly are not of the type that we're going to end it. But yes, okay, today, Usman, we're listening to you as well. So people, please make sure that you write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of,
Well, this morning,
on
well, this
Twitter,
morning.
on Dailymotion, and YouTube.
Well, this morning.
And the fabulous repeat's going to be at
5 past midnight tonight.
till the next time. Look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
morning.
Take care.
Thank Thank you very much.